If you run a professional services firm, your partners have decades of specialized knowledge, but that internal expertise and public authority often disconnect. Video podcasting offers an efficient way to bridge that gap. A structured recording session allows your team to explain complex topics directly to your market. Yet most corporate podcast initiatives are abandoned within the first 5 episodes. The failure usually traces back to a single misconception. Companies assume that renting a room with professional lighting and visible microphones is the same as building a strategic marketing asset. Treating a podcast strictly as an aesthetic session forces your team to invent a strategy after the cameras turn off. Without a repeatable business system, this process consumes expensive executive hours, while producing content that lacks a clear path to your prospects. For firms in Southern California, producing recurring media introduces a harsh logistical challenge. Your experts are already stretched thin, and commute times kill momentum. Navigating tangled transit routes across Los Angeles takes hours compared to a focused location in the South Bay. This turns a 2-hour session into a 5-hour commitment, causing executive burnout. Physical proximity makes recurring schedules manageable, building a usable library over time. Choosing a local studio solves the friction of travel. But proximity alone, without a production framework, is still a trap that yields little compounding marketing value. This comparison matrix breaks down the variables to consider when choosing a space. The first row compares the executive friction and setup time between a generic rental and a strategic partner. In a generic rental, your team arrives at a space and immediately faces technical troubleshooting, vague direction, and a lack of structured episode planning. The resulting content often feels improvised and lacks the focus required to capture the authority your buyers expect. A strategic partner model works backward. The themes, talking points, and recurring segments are structured before your executive team ever walks through the door. Eliminating setup friction preserves leadership focus and ensures the recording actually takes place. Now look at the second row of the matrix: tone, aesthetics, and trust metrics. Many studios use a creator aesthetic defined by neon lighting, casual desk setups, and hyperactive pacing designed for entertainment. If your firm handles commercial real estate, corporate law, accounting, or B2B technology, that casual tone erodes your credibility. You can see the physical contrast here. A chaotic environment sends one signal, while a sleek, well-lit boardroom setup communicates stability and competence. High-ticket business buyers evaluate expertise through clarity and substance. They look for confident delivery, not forced charisma or flashy editing. A mismatched studio tone undermines the primary goal of your podcast. It weakens the firm's perceived authority before the prospect even hears your advice. The final row of the matrix covers the most significant variable: distribution support and ROI outputs. A generic rental typically results in a vacuum. At the end of the session, they hand you a massive video file. That delivery burdens internal marketing teams, who must scrub through footage for clips and map SEO value. A content engine approach designs the recording session based on how your buyers actually research and evaluate expertise online. A single strategic session generates a full episode, short clips, quote graphics, website copy, and assets for your sales team simultaneously. Failing to build this asset repurposing engine leaves revenue on the table. A potential lead generation tool becomes a disappearing marketing expense. Consistent, structured video podcasts create discoverability surfaces. They generate indexable topics that align with the phrases your buyers are already searching. These indexed clips act as a pre-qualification tool. A prospect can consume your firm's specific expertise before they ever initiate contact. One piece of strong content extends its reach over time, capturing a wider audience long after the recording day ends. When a prospect arrives at a first sales call already informed by your media library, the sales cycle becomes shorter and more efficient. To choose your ideal studio model, follow this decision tree. If the goal is a casual hobby, or if the brand lacks clear messaging, a standard room rental is appropriate. Over-investing for a hobby project creates a backlog of unused footage. However, to establish B2B authority and generate leads, you require a strategic production partner. Your studio choice must match your firm's operational maturity. Using a hobbyist toolkit for a specialized business requirement leads to poor results. Voxel Micro Video Labs by Dawn Allen Experience is designed for executive teams and marketing leaders in the South Bay and Harbor area. The Voxel model centers on aligning messaging and business outcomes, moving beyond standard equipment rental services. This facility reduces geographical friction for local Southern California businesses while delivering the multi-asset content engine required for marketing success. A strategic studio that understands the nuances of B2B communication helps maintain the professional standard your clients expect. Ultimately, your production partner should be judged by how effectively they translate expert knowledge into a library that your market can find and trust.